Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Okay, so please understand this is a very important topic which will help you a lot. So topic for now is how kubectl, okay, connect to API server. That is a question. Okay, I hope you remember the architecture I discussed in detail, and there should not be any confusion around it, because the moment you have a confusion, then you have lots of questions in your mind. So this is your laptop. Please understand that this is your laptop and this is you working on this machine. Okay, now in this we have a cluster. This is the master server, we call it a control plane, and this is a worker. I don't care about the worker at all right now, because I have explained spent a lot of time over there. Now here it's a API server. Now we have here we have a kubectl. So, and this is me, you and everyone. So how this kubectl talk to API server? That's the question I'm trying to solve. How? So guys, what happens in your machine, in your laptop, you have one file, one tool called kubectl, which you have installed it by you have installed it and you are using it unknowingly. Many times you have run the command. What happens? This guy is a tool, but required server address of API. So not only address it required a user certificate and user token also. User token. Why? Because that's the way API authentication is being done between you and API server. Yes. How? What are the method of authentications to the API server? We'll discuss later point of the time, not now. Okay, we will discuss during the authentication and authorization. But for time being, how do you connect to the API server? Answer is very straightforward: certificate, user certificate, user token. That's all, very simple. Keys and certificate and keys. Okay, so now kubectl look for one file. Which file? Config file. The file name is config. But where it look for it? Okay, look for config file. But question is where? So guys, there are three locations for it. I must tell you here, there are three locations for it. One of the location is environment variable, and at the environment variable you can set something like this. If you're in Linux, then I think you know the command. If you are on Windows, then set command, you know that set command in Windows, export command in Linux. Okay, but you can also pass through the command line also. How? Let me ask this guy only, because I don't know. If I write kubectl options and I get a lot of things, don't worry about it, don't get lost. I'm very particular about it. Where is my cluster file, config file, sorry, config file? So which one should be used? Even I got lost. Where's the config? Client certificate, client cluster context should be here. Here it is. So this is I'm talking about. So command line cmd, this is the one. So you set this in command line while passing the, so passing the parameters like this. Here you are writing this command, right? This command. and after that you can set this parameter options as equal to the location. It can be any locations. So this is the command line, this is the environment variable, but also look for one more place, and that is called path. One path is which path? User home slash dot cube slash config. So basically kubectl look for the file, which file? Config file at any of these locations. If you have files at every locations, which is having the highest precedence? Any guesses, guys? Which is having the highest precedence? Any guesses?
Command one.
Command one, and second highest will be this one, and third highest. So this is the default address. Again, typically you won't check, but I have not experienced these three places. Usually I have these places actually. Only I'm using this one. But three places you can set. It's up to you. This config file is important. Okay. So now with that in mind, can you please read this statement? Only the one which I have selected. Do you find this is something strange statement? You have done it unknowingly. What you have done it? Set up a config file in the same machine. If you are doing the setup, if you are setting up in a different machine, what you need? Content of config file. That file which you have in the admin.conf. So when you set up a cluster, you get admin.conf. That file has a super access. What it contains, I'll discuss about in some time. So guys, the selected content, are you comfortable so far? Are you comfortable?
Yes.
Wonderful. Now next thing is, okay, fine, I understood. Any of these places you set the config file, which I have already got it through the init process, and workstation is set up. You can do that if you copy the content of this and put it in a different machine, and if that machine is accessible to API server, you are setting up the workstation in another machine. Simple. But why I did set up in the same machine in the master? Because I want to experience the pod the way I run it. I don't want to jump the machine to machine and get confusion, because it's a learning process, right? That's the first thing. Now next question I'm having in my mind is, what is the content? What is the content of the config file? That's the important one. What is the content of config file? Okay, so you have to think in this way. There should be some problem, and then you can correlate with the content. You know what? You as an individual engineer must be working with at least 3 to 4 cluster. One is your personal cluster, Kubernetes personal cluster. One is of the development cluster. One is a QA cluster. One is a operation. One is a integration. One is a production. You may have you may be working with a multiple cluster, but you have only one command at a time you can send to single cluster. You can't send to the multiple cluster at the multiple time. So how can you manage those multiple clusters and work together with a config file? So let me show you here. So basically this config file is nothing but it's a YAML file. Yeah. Contains what? Sections. Sections of what? Of clusters. Okay. Clusters. I repeat, it's a S means multiple clusters. Users. I repeat, it's a yes means multiple user. Context. But what is this? Context, user, and stuff like that. So what happens in the YAML file, in the config file, what we do is actually we have a section which is called cluster section, and colon. I'll show you that. Just understand the flow. Here we mention all the cluster. One, HTTP, IP address 6443, something like that, right? That's a port number 6433 here. Okay, of API server. Like that, you can set up a second cluster. Okay, change the port. And like that, you set up a third cluster. And here, change the port. So you got the 3 clusters set up right now. But This is just address you have mentioned. What about the access? That's where the user sections will come into the picture. And here you are specifying different user. User one, what it contains, remember, is a certificate and plus private key, which you needed. Okay, how this certificate authentication works, I think you should know. If we don't know, no worries. I will discuss in the auth section of Kubernetes also. But this is something which is very common in everywhere. So here you have a certificates plus key and specify the user. But the question is, I'm confused right now. Which cluster is belongs to which user? User one belong to 3 or 2 or what exactly? That is where you send the context and you tell, okay, context one is equal to what? Cluster one and plus user 3. This is the context you set, which cluster has which user, because this file is for managing and working for the multiple cluster. Okay, so this way you set the context. So context 1, context 2, context 3, cluster 3, user 1. So this way you set it up. See here, you specify in this section all the clusters, specify all the users with the key and certificates. Here you set the context, which cluster belong to which user. And finally, now you use the context in the command. So you run the kubectl get right nodes. So basically use one of the context. So how do you set the default context? Let's say here, if you look at my screen, all of you, please. Do you want to set the context in the command line? You can do that. How? Where is the C option? Do you see context? See here. Do you see here? Context. You can set the context name which you have specified in the configuration file, but there is one more section called current context. That means the default context you are setting up, so you don't have to specify again and again because you get tired sometime. You can modify this behavior anytime, but if you think this cluster you are working a lot, set the default one, and any special cluster for that you can specify through, you know, command line or something like that. So this is your content of config file. I would like to show you, it should match the description. So here, how do I see? So I think you can go and view this file. There's no problem in it. So this file also is the same. Admin.cn is the same. You are in the master, no problem. So you can see that here. Look at it. It's a API version. It's a YAML file. You can look at it and understand. It's a cluster section. Here, this is the cluster one, and this is the address. You see that, and name of it, Kubernetes. And here, if you go down side, here you have a user section. Name of the user is Kubernetes-admin, user certificate and key. If you go a little bit up, here you have a context. Context one, what is the name of the context and which cluster and which user. So right now 111, and what is the current context? Because you have only one, so you have set it up the default context, same one, and that is how. But the content is pretty huge. How can I see it in a simple way? So there's a command, guys. I would like you to get comfortable and try to learn from now onwards yourself. You should not ask me a questions. Which command should be used for what scenarios? Because if you are preparing for the certification, it's an open exam. They will allow you to cheat, but from their official documents and command line. So you just run kubectl. I don't know the command, but here there is one config command. Using that, you can modify the config file, Kubernetes config file. So can we do one thing? I don't know the command, but I'm learning it. I just keep typing it. There's so many sub commands. You have it. What do you want? You want to display the current context. So I got it. What do you want? You want to display the content of config file. So view. See you. Like that you use this here. Just I'm viewing right now. Look at this. So here clusters, one cluster, context, one context, users, one users, and the keys has been omitted or edited. And what is the current context? This one. So that means if I write kubectl get config or get notes or any commands, actually, for the sake of discussion, what is happening, what is happening, I have not set this one and this one, I have set this one. So automatically kubectl use this config file and this default context, which is this one, and send that command to API, and whatever the API respond back, you see that here. You see that here. And this is what it is happening. So what are the content of file? You understand that. What are the how it works, and you understand that. So now, did you understand, all of you, with this command? Are you having any confusion how to set the context? But let me tell you guys, here there's so many other commands are also there, which you feel, if you want to add, if you want to work with multiple cluster, then here, see here, look at my screen here. This is for the displaying purpose. So if you want to only get the cluster here, only if you want to get the context here, if you want to only get the user, all users, not one, I have only one right now here. If you want to view, I have told you. But what about if you want to set something new? So set command, you see here, you have it. Set means you can add a new cluster, add a new context, set a credential, add a new user. You can unset also, and you can delete the cluster. I am not doing it because I have only one. Delete the cluster, section, context, and user. Okay, and all that stuff. So are you comfortable now with the config, how to work with the config file using the kubectl config command? All of you, are you comfortable? Guys,
Yes.
hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, great.
Yes, Rajesh. One question. So theoretically, I can just copy this one file to any of my machines and make that the kube control console, right? The
That's
workstation.
all. Yeah, theoretically you are correct. It should be any of these places. I repeat, any of these places. Okay, the config file should be any of these places. Either on command line you pass it. You don't have to specify. Command line you can pass it, set the environment, or set this is the default location, path environment variable. Set that and make sure that this IP address, the one which you set it up, that API address, should be accessible from your machine. If it is not accessible, then you will not be able to send a request to API server. Are you okay with it? All of you?
Yeah.
Hello, am I losing? Yep. Okay. Now guys, let's understand this code. See, I'm not discussing the networking in detail right now because we have a half day sessions for it. But I want you to understand this one in a simple way. Okay, this code. Okay, so let me ask you one question. How many of you have set up the physical machine? I mean, how many of you have installed that some operating system, Windows XP or Windows 1998 or something 2000 in your laptop or desktop? How many of you? Anyone? None of you?
Yeah,
I
I
did
did
a
it
lot.
during my college days.
Yeah. Even my college days. Nowadays we are not doing it. Do you remember you used to install the driver? Which are the driver you used to install?
Display drivers and all, maybe.
And one more
One driver.
for the internet. For the internet,
Yeah, LAN
Networking
drivers,
driver it was. Yeah.
networking.
network driver, correct?
Yeah.
Network driver you used to install, right? Remember? If you see in your desktop you have a NIC card, but it will not work as long as you install the driver. What is a driver? So driver basically is a kind of software policies which governs like how the packet should be delivered from one place to another place, one machine to another machine over the network. See, in a simple way, I'm not complicating it. Okay, so it's like a driver, it's like a policies. So here, if you notice, let me recall the discussion. Do you remember that all the discovery services like a core DNS ports were in a pending state? Do you remember the step number 12? Do you remember? All of you, please be responsive.
Yes. Yes, yes, we
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. So after that, what we did, we installed the pod networking, and this is the
Yes.
driver. Actually, we used it. Here in today's session, I enforce you to install the VNet driver, but actually you have got so many drivers policies, networking policies here. You see that what they're saying, you should now deploy a pod network on which the pod will can communicate with each other. So Qproxy is there, but without a pod network will not work. Remember, understand that earlier we had a hardware, Nick, but you need to install the driver to work on it. So something similar concept. Qproxy is there in the each node, but without a driver policies will not work. So if you go here, that URL, and that's the reason I ask you to be slow. Observe every knowledge here. Here they're saying networking and networking policy, and you see here Kubernetes supports all these policies. These are the different vendors, different companies actually has released this one. AWS has their own network policies. Azure has their own network policies. uh, Google Cloud and Alibaba has their own network policies. So what is a network policy? So guys, anyone can develop a network policies, but the rules are very simple. Anyone remember the rules which I stated? I said, in fact, your organization can develop a network policies for the pod. It's possible, but you have to respect three rules, three requirement. Anyone remember that? Anyone remember that? Okay, let me recall that rules. That's the reason I ask you all to please focus on it. Remember, Kubernetes networking requirement is simple. Any pod can communicate with any pod across the node within a cluster. That's the first one. Second requirement. Within a cluster of Kubernetes, any node can reach out to any pod, and a no natting. Remember that now? No nat. Guys, I think we forgot. No problem. It's taking too much of time. Okay, so now guys, let me remind you that's so next discussion onwards, please focus on the discussion. I know that it's little boring, but it's very important because commands are damn simple in Kubernetes, but understanding the behavior is more important, and that is the major topic in Kubernetes. So where is that content? Here it is. This is the Kubernetes networking requirement. So Kubernetes, all pods can communicate with each other on all nodes. All nodes can communicate with all pods and no NAT. Okay, so what has happened? These are the drivers has been developed. In short, we call it network policies. These are the network policy has been developed on using that pod can talk to each other, and this requirement is satisfied. Okay, so these are the driver you can use it. One of the driver I'm enforcing you all is VNet, which is here. It's overlay. Okay, one of the driver. Okay, so now what I did is basically I asked you to install the driver. So now here, if you look at this, they're asking you go and install the driver. So you have to get their drivers using the YAML file. It's all about the YAML. So here I ask you, I enforces you to install the VNet, and which is now probably you can understand this command very well. Here it is. This is the way to install the VNet driver. And you know what? This has done nothing. It installed a few more pod which contain the network policy which empower the kube proxy. So see here, look at my screen. I'll show you the get pods, all in the namespace. And you see here, when you install that line, you get the VNet. Look at this here. So basically this ViewNet, why I'm getting the 2 ViewNet? Because I have a 2 nodes. So you get a 10 nodes, you get a 10 ViewNet. So one ViewNet empowers the one kube proxy. So it's something similar. See, conceptually I'm trying to teach you, not technically I'm trying to teach you conceptually. It's like that the Ethernet is there, you need to install the driver. Same way, kube proxy is there, but you need to have a policies, network policy. Without that, it will not be possible to talk to the pod, and discovery also will not happen. So that's the reason the moment we install the network policies, discovery also pod started running. You might have noticed. So guys, did you understand why I asked you to do that? All of you are comfortable now conceptually?
Yes.
Okay, now guys, third statement is very simple. I told you, if you want to add any number of worker, I repeat, please understand that. Please hear my statement. If you want to add any number of worker to the cluster, that means API server master, you have to run this command. What is this? This is my API server. But what is this? So let me ask you in a simple way. See, I've been telling you minions request the master to become a master. I repeat, minions request a master to become a, sorry, not become a master, become a slave. So same thing, kubelet request the master to become a slave, become a worker. But what is happening is, because of this line, kubelet request to master to become a worker, and because of this line, this request get auto approved. For example, I'll tell you, if I go to your office and visit your office today, so if I want to go inside office, then when you security will not allow. Why? Because I'm not the employee of your office, your company. But if you go to your office, you have a special permission, some card and all, right? You don't have to talk to the security. Immediately you go and swipe up that card and you go inside it. No one can stop you. 24/7 you can go. It's like a pre-authorization, you are getting it. But if I go your office, I need to get authorization. So this token is basically what has happened. When you set up a Kubernetes master, they ask you, they give you this token, and this key is like a pre-authorization. So if you run this command to any worker after the prerequisite setup is done, then it's like a pre-authorization. You request, automatically you will get approved because you have a token. That's important. By the way, this token is valid only for 24 hours. You can extend the token, you can create a new token, you can generate a token and extend the validity of the token. That's a different thing. But yeah, did you understand this line now? So you are saying KubeADM join to what API server with this token permission. So that means kubelet will run in the worker machine, and they will write one file. So if you look at this here, I'm just showing you the kubelet configuration. See here, kubelet, this is the utility, and they are reading this file which is here. And if you go, this file is been written. See, what is up? Am I running the right command? Okay, that file seems to not be available, but not to worry. Let's look at the other files, because see here, look at this here, what you have. Same thing which you had, human also had the something similar here. So authority data server, look at this. These are the context, clusters, users, and this is the user's PEM and all. Okay, so he got the authorization because of this command. This file got created because of that command. So here, that command which you passed basically created this file, and when kubelet all the time they are running in the as a process, uses this file to talk to API server. So did you understand, all of you guys? And there's a few more config file, you must look at it. If you want to build the expertise, you should try and debug all this stuff. It will help you to become a good Kubernetes administrator. Did you understand that now, the third line also, all of you?
Rajesh, don't worry.
Yeah.
You say that token is expires after some time. So does it mean
To watch our complete session, enroll for our premium membership. Click onto the join button and enroll yourself with the best suited option.
after
24
some
hours,
time?
this one.
Yeah, after 24 hours, that whatever minion node I have, it get released. I have to connect again.
No. This is just to request. Remember the certificate, they get it, right? See,
Right.
it's like this. When you run this command, the kubelet will request and master will give the certificate back. Once the certificate is done, then this is not required at all. See, once you become a part of the worker, you don't need those. This request is only for the one-time work.
Okay.
They communicate through each other through the certificate which you received the moment you request. Make sense?
Right. And when we
Yeah,
use
so
this get parts all namespaces, we also got two containers by the name core DNS, right? So what is it for?
this is the discovery services. This is the discovery services related. So see, I'll put it in this way, simple way, because you will be having confusion a lot. Even I used to have this confusion. Don't consider Kubernetes as a tool, Kubernetes as a platform, like a AWS, Azure. So you want the pod, you want the virtual machine, you want a pod, you want different kind of storage on Azure. Here you also get a different kind of storage. Do you want a security? Here also you get a security. Do you want a load balancer at Azure? Here also you get a load balancer. Do you want a DNS services at Azure? Here also you get a DNS services. So it's like that. It's a platform. It's a platform. Okay, so you can get a platform like something like a pod, which is a compute. Storage I have not discussed, but I'll discuss soon, tomorrow or day after or something like that. Yeah, more questions, guys?
Yeah, Rajesh, that token, this token, if it is get expired, now I want to add worker. How do I generate this token again?
Wonderful. You can go to the master server, being administrator. I'll just see, I'm in a master server. My white screen is equal to master, but
Yeah.
it is also worker. But I must tell you here, Azure user is a workstation and sudo -s this as a master. That is how. So kubeadm token, and I can first I'll show you that list. So see here, look at my screen. This is the token I did not generate. It got generated with the help of init process. But can I generate few more tokens? So yes, you can generate a more token using create command or generate command, and you can extend the TTYL validity, all this thing. So by default, it's 24 hours. So you got this token here, you see, new token. This is for 24 hours. But if you want to extend the token validity, then you can -h TTYL. You just mention this TTYL. There's one option. Where is that? Here it is. And duration. And the duration can be in a second, minute, days, year, all these things. If you want the unlimited one, 0. Default is 24 hours. Make sense? Okay, guys.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.